Your next big breakthrough could happen in the silence you choose today. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by noise, the constant buzz of voices and opinions pulling you in every direction? What if the key to clarity and strength lies not in speaking more, but in speaking less? In this video, you will discover how staying silent can sharpen your focus, protect your energy, and build unshakable self-discipline. You will feel a shift inside as you learn simple steps to pause, listen, and observe. You will learn to control your reactions when chaos hits, to speak with purpose, and to understand others on a deeper level. This approach will help you earn respect, grow your influence, and break free from the habit of reacting before thinking. If you are ready to transform your mind and your life, keep watching and take the first step toward real and lasting, meaningful change. Number 1, practice silence daily to build powerful inner strength. You want to be respected. You want to feel strong from the inside. You want to stop feeling like your emotions control you. I understand that. I've lived long enough to see it in others, and I've faced it myself. That tug of war between staying calm and wanting to react, that inner pressure to speak just so people know you're smart or strong or worthy. But I want to challenge you today, not to say more, but to say less, to hold your ground without saying a word, to practice silence daily until it becomes your strength, not your weakness. Silence isn't emptiness. It's power in its purest form. You can't see it, but you feel it. It's the pause that separates a thoughtful person from a reactive one. And in today's world, noisy, loud, filled with opinions and distractions, silence is rare. That's why it's powerful. Because most people are too afraid to be quiet. They think silence means you don't know what to say. But the truth is, silence means you're choosing what not to say. You want to grow stronger on the inside? Then practice being silent when your emotions flare up. Don't respond out of habit. Don't speak just to defend yourself. Stop trying to prove who you are to people who never cared to understand you in the first place. That's how you lose energy. That's how you stay stuck. Every time you react to the world, you give it control. But when you stay silent, you keep that control. You stay in command. And people can feel that. They respect that. We live in a time where everyone wants to be heard, but very few people are willing to listen, not to others, and definitely not to themselves. But the more you listen, the more you learn. You start to pick up things others miss. You start to hear what's really being said beneath the surface. That's when you become sharp. You're no longer just floating through life. You're studying it. You're reading people. You're noticing patterns. And all of that happens when you stop talking and start watching. Now let me be clear. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean fear. Silence means you're choosing discipline. You're building something inside of you. You're training your mind to slow down, to pause, to hold back. That kind of discipline can change your whole life. It helps you deal with pressure. It helps you stay focused. It helps you respond when it really matters instead of reacting to everything. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment and wished you could take it back? That's the kind of mistake silence protects you from. Every single time you pause instead of explode, you grow. You build trust with yourself. You begin to realize that your peace is more valuable than being right, that your focus is worth more than attention, that your time is too precious to waste on proving anything to anyone. Silence gives you space to think clearly. You can't solve problems when your mind is racing. You can't plan your future when your emotions are on fire. But silence cools the fire. It slows your thoughts. It allows you to separate what matters from what's just noise. That's where wisdom grows. That's where maturity is born. And it doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, day by day, when you decide to stop feeding the noise and start strengthening your center. The truth is, most people are drained, not because life is hard, but because they never stop reacting. Someone disrespects them, they argue. Someone doubts them, they explain. Someone misunderstands them, they get defensive. But what if you didn't respond? What if you chose silence instead? Not as a way to run, but as a way to rise. What if you let your results speak instead of your words? That kind of silence takes courage. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because one day you're going to look back and be thankful that you didn't lower yourself to every little conflict. You're going to thank yourself for choosing peace over ego, for choosing focus over drama, for choosing to rise instead of react. The strongest people I've known were never the loudest. They were calm, they were patient, they were consistent, and they practiced silence like a daily habit. They used it to protect their energy, to stay grounded, to stay sharp. That's what I'm asking you to build. A new habit of staying silent just long enough to think, just long enough to process, just long enough to stay in control. You don't need to explain everything. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to answer every opinion. You don't need to fight every battle. The people who get it, get it. The ones who don't, won't. You're not here to convince. You're here to grow. And growth needs silence. It needs space. It needs patience. And those things don't come when you're always speaking. They come when you sit with yourself and decide to listen instead. Every morning, before the world starts pulling you in 1,000 directions, give yourself 5 minutes of silence. No phone, no people, no noise, just you and your breath. You'll be surprised what comes to the surface. You'll hear your own thoughts more clearly. You'll feel more grounded. You'll walk into the day stronger, not because you shouted, but because you listened. And when life gets hard, and it will, don't panic. Don't complain. Don't explode. Be still. Stay centered. Breathe. Give yourself a moment before you act. That small pause could save you years of regret. That silence could be the difference between reaction and wisdom, between staying stuck and breaking through. So build your strength in the quiet. Make it a daily practice, and with time, you'll notice something powerful. You'll start to move differently. You'll stop chasing approval. You'll stop trying to win arguments. You'll stop wasting time trying to be understood by people who don't even understand themselves. Because everything you've been chasing, peace, respect, clarity, control, it starts to find you when you stop chasing it. When you stay silent and let your actions speak. When you grow in the dark instead of performing in the spotlight. If you want to live strong, if you want to build a mind that doesn't fall apart under pressure, then start here. Practice silence daily. Make it your habit. Make it your strength. And I promise you this, everything you've been hoping for will start coming to you, not because you forced it, but because you became the kind of person who attracts it by who you are. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to shout to stand out. You don't have to explain to be understood. Just keep growing, keep building, keep showing up with strength. And when the time is right, everything will come together. Now go start practicing your silence. One moment, one breath, one decision at a time. Number 2, hold back your words to grow emotional control fast. You ruin more things in life by what you say than by what you stay silent about. And the sooner you realize that, the faster your life starts changing. When you get emotional, you talk fast. You try to defend yourself. You try to explain things that don't need explaining. And you think if you just say the right thing at the right moment, everything will work out. But what really happens is you say something you didn't mean, you react, you lose control. And suddenly a small situation turns into a bigger problem because you didn't stop yourself. You want real emotional power? Then learn how to stop talking when your emotions are loud. Learn how to hold back when your heart is racing. Learn how to take a step back before you respond. That's not weakness. That's growth. That's what emotional control looks like in real life. It's not always about being calm. It's about choosing not to feed your emotions with words that make things worse. I've seen people lose opportunities, relationships, and even their own self-respect. Not because they were bad people, but because they didn't know how to hold back. They spoke too soon. They reacted too quickly. They said things they couldn't take back, and then they lived with the weight of those words. When you hold back your words, you're not running away, you're taking ownership. You're protecting your future from your present emotions. You're saying, I'm in charge now. Not your anger, not your ego, not your pride, you. Think about how many arguments you've had that didn't really need to happen. Think about the times you got into it with someone because you just had to say something, and afterward you realized it wasn't worth it. You knew better, but you didn't do better because your mouth moved faster than your mind. That's the habit you have to break. And you can. You can train yourself to pause, to wait, to hold. Not forever, just long enough to breathe, just long enough to think. That small gap, that pause, that's where your power grows. That's where your emotions settle. That's where your logic kicks in. There's a reason people admire the ones who don't talk too much. It's not mystery, it's control, it's clarity. It's the ability to sit in the tension without needing to ease it with words. When you can do that, people trust you more. They feel safer around you. They listen to you more closely when you do speak, because you've shown them that your words are intentional, not impulsive. Most people don't practice emotional control because they've never seen the real value in it. But here's the truth. Emotional control saves you years of damage. It gives you the upper hand in conflict. It protects your mental health. It helps you make better choices in the moments that matter most. And it builds something inside you that no amount of books or knowledge ever could: self-respect. You grow fast when you stop reacting to everything. You evolve quickly when you stop speaking just to be heard. There's strength in knowing when to stay quiet, and you build that strength through practice daily. When something bothers you, pause. When someone offends you, pause. When life feels unfair, pause. You don't need to give in to every emotion. You don't need to say what you're thinking every time you feel something intense. That's not honesty. That's immaturity. Honesty without control becomes destruction. People will test your patience. Life will pull at your emotions. You will be misunderstood, criticized, ignored, maybe even betrayed. But your job is not to react. Your job is to manage yourself. Your words are powerful, and when used right, they can inspire, uplift, or calm a storm. But when used carelessly, they can burn bridges, create scars, and destroy peace. You want to be proud of how you handle yourself, especially in difficult moments, and you won't get there by yelling louder or talking faster. You'll get there by pausing, by choosing your words with care, by holding them back until you know they'll actually help. That's the standard you want to live by. Real strength isn't shown in how quickly you speak. It's shown in how well you can hold your tongue when everything inside you wants to explode. That's when you're really in control. That's when you separate yourself from the average. That's when you begin to move differently, with purpose, with discipline, with confidence. And no, it won't feel natural at first. At first, you'll feel like you're holding in too much. You'll feel uncomfortable. You'll want to go back to reacting. But stay with it. Keep practicing. Keep building the pause. Keep training your mind to check in with your emotions before your mouth opens. With time, it becomes who you are. You stop getting triggered by small things. You stop engaging in petty drama. You stop letting people get the best of you. And suddenly you start walking through life with more power. You start making better choices. You start building a future that's not shaped by emotional accidents, but by conscious, steady decisions. And people notice. They respect it. Because in a world full of noise and reaction, your quiet control stands out. It's not about suppressing how you feel. It's about channeling it. You can feel angry and not lash out. You can feel sad and not dump it on others. You can feel stressed and still speak with calm. That's the power of emotional control. And the fastest way to build it? Hold back your words. Just for a little while. Just long enough to make sure they're serving you, not hurting you. If you want peace, protect your words. If you want growth, manage your reactions. If you want strong relationships, learn when to stay silent. And if you want to lead others, whether in business, family, or life, you have to lead yourself first. You have to set the example. You have to walk with the kind of discipline that speaks louder than any words ever could. The next time you're in a heated moment, remember this: you have nothing to prove. You don't need to say everything that's on your mind. You don't owe the world a reaction. You owe yourself a life that reflects strength, not struggle. And that starts with a pause, with holding back, with growing up emotionally, not just getting older. So commit to this. Practice holding back your words. Watch how fast you grow. Watch how differently people respond to you. Watch how much clearer your mind becomes. And most of all, watch how proud you feel when you realize you're finally in control. And that's a feeling worth fighting for. Number 3, observe people quietly to understand what drives them. Most people miss what truly matters in life because they talk too much and observe too little. If you really want to grow, if you want to build stronger relationships, lead more effectively, or stop getting caught off guard, then you need to train yourself to watch people, not just hear them, not just respond to them, really watch them. See what they say when no one's listening. Notice how they act when they don't need anything. Pay attention to what they're drawn to, what they avoid, how they react under pressure. Because when you observe people quietly, you don't just understand their words, you start to understand their patterns. We all have patterns, every one of us. Some are driven by fear, some by validation, some by greed, some by deep insecurity. And when you're too busy talking, trying to be heard, trying to be seen, you miss those subtle cues. You miss the truth right in front of you. But the ones who succeed in business, in relationships, in life, they don't guess what drives people. They pay attention. They look closely. They notice the details others ignore. You'll learn more about a person by watching what they do when they think no one's looking than you ever will from what they say out loud. People reveal themselves in the quiet moments, in the tone of their voice, in what they celebrate, in what they complain about, in how they treat someone they don't benefit from. That's the stuff that tells you who someone really is. But you can only see it if you slow down and really look. Most people go through life distracted. They rush through conversations. They're more focused on what they're going to say next than in what the other person is really saying. And because of that, they miss the truth. They get disappointed. They get betrayed. They get let down, not because the other person changed, but because they never really knew them in the first place. When you make the decision to be quiet, to be still, to observe instead of react, you give yourself a gift, clarity. And clarity is priceless. It protects you, it teaches you, it guides you, it helps you move smarter. You stop placing your trust in the wrong hands. You stop getting fooled by surface appearances. You start making decisions based on what's real, not what's projected. In the quiet, you start to see things you never noticed before. That friend who only calls when they need something. That coworker who always shifts blame when things go wrong. That relative who compliments you in public but criticizes you behind your back. When you slow down, you don't just see behavior, you start to see motives. And when you understand what drives people, you know how to deal with them. You know what to expect. You stop taking things personally. You stop being reactive. You become strategic. You learn who to open up to. You learn who to distance yourself from. You learn who's really loyal and who's just present for convenience. This isn't about judging others. This is about protecting your peace. This is about developing wisdom. Because wisdom doesn't come from just living. It comes from reflecting. It comes from paying attention. And if you're always the one talking, if you're always filling the silence, you miss the messages people are showing you every day. Some of the most dangerous people in your life are the ones who wear the biggest smiles. And some of the most reliable people won't say much. They'll just show up consistently. If you're not watching closely, you'll confuse charm with character. But if you sit back, if you listen deeply, if you study their habits, the truth becomes obvious. People tell you what they value without ever speaking. You just have to watch where they spend their time, what they make time for, who they respect, what they joke about, what they never joke about. That's the real stuff. That's the kind of insight that can save you years of frustration. If you want to win in life, learn to read people, not manipulate them, not use them, but understand them. Because when you know what drives someone, you know how they'll act under stress. You know how they'll treat you when they no longer need you. You know whether they're honest or just pretending to be. And most importantly, you know if they belong in your future. Sometimes you find out that a person's loyalty was never really loyalty. It was just opportunity. And that's a painful truth. But it's also a powerful one. Because once you see it, you can make better choices. You can stop giving energy to the wrong people. You can stop chasing approval from those who don't even value your presence. Your quiet observation is your strength. It's not weakness to listen more than you speak. It's not passive. It's powerful. Because the more you watch, the more you learn. The more you learn, the less you repeat mistakes. And the less you repeat mistakes, the faster you grow. You want stronger relationships? Pay attention to how people treat others, not just you. You want better business partners? Watch how they handle failure. Watch how they talk about others when they're not in the room. You want a real support system? Observe who shows up when you're not at your best. These are the things that matter, not just words, actions. And once you start living this way, quietly, intentionally, observantly, you begin to move differently. You stop rushing. You stop forcing. You start choosing with care. and people notice. They feel that you're not easily fooled. They respect your presence. They trust your judgment because you're not operating out of emotion. You're moving with insight. So take this seriously. Make it your daily habit to observe more in every conversation, in every setting, in every interaction. Look for the patterns. Listen for what's not being said. Watch what people prioritize. It's all right there. You just need to be silent enough to see it. The more you do this, the more power you build. Quiet power, deep understanding. And that understanding will guide you through life with less chaos, less regret, and more peace. That's the reward of staying silent and paying attention. Make today the day you decide to be the observer, not the reactor. Start watching, start listening, and most of all, start learning what really drives the people around you. Because once you know that, nothing can surprise you. And when nothing surprises you, you are finally in control. Number 4, listen deeply to others to earn true respect. Most people want respect, but never slow down long enough to give it first. There's something powerful about a person who listens, not just hears the words, but really listens. When you look someone in the eye and give them your full attention, you tell them, without saying a word, you matter. And in a world that's loud, fast, distracted, and self-focused, that kind of presence earns something you can't fake: respect. Respect isn't something you demand, it's something you earn. And the fastest way to earn it isn't through force or success or showing off how much you know. It's by proving you're the kind of person who sees people, hears them, and takes the time to understand them. That's what people remember. That's what they trust. We live in a time where everyone's talking over each other. Most conversations feel more like competitions than real connections. You've felt it. Someone asks how you're doing, and before you finish answering, they've already started talking about themselves. They weren't really asking, they were waiting for their turn to speak. But when someone really listens to you, you feel it. You feel lighter. You feel safe. You feel respected. And that's exactly what you give when you learn to listen deeply. You give the people around you a space to breathe, to be themselves, to open up. And when you give that kind of space, you don't have to chase respect. It comes to you naturally. Here's the truth. People open up to those who care, and they shut down around those who just pretend to. That's why shallow listeners never build real relationships. They might impress people for a while, but they never earn trust, because people can feel it when you're distracted. They notice when you're just nodding but not engaging. And over time, they stop confiding in you. They stop trusting you. They pull away. But when you're the one who sits quietly, pays attention, remembers details, responds with care, you become rare. You become someone they respect. Not because you're louder, smarter, or more accomplished, but because you're real. And that's what people are hungry for. Someone who listens without judging, without interrupting, without making it about them. Listening is a skill, one of the most powerful you can ever build. It takes practice. It takes humility. It takes discipline. Because your mind will want to wander. You'll want to jump in with your opinion. You'll want to share your own story. But if you can resist that urge and give the gift of silence, you'll discover something incredible. People will show you who they really are. They'll tell you what they're afraid of, what they're proud of, what they want but don't know how to ask for. And when you listen with empathy, with curiosity, with patience, you earn something deeper than just polite approval. You earn their respect. You earn their loyalty. You earn their belief that you are someone worth following, someone worth trusting. If you want to grow your influence, listen more. If you want stronger friendships, listen better. If you want to lead people effectively, listen deeply. Stop assuming. Stop guessing. Stop jumping to fix things before you understand them. Just slow down, stay present, and absorb what they're really saying. And sometimes it's not even about the words. It's the tone, the hesitation, the emotion behind the sentence. It's what they're not saying. And if you're present enough, you'll catch it. You'll notice the pain they're hiding, the doubt they don't know how to name, the joy they're afraid to show. All of that reveals itself only to someone who listens without rushing. This is what earns respect in the long run. Not charm, not titles, not trying to control the room. It's being the kind of person people feel seen by. That's when they say, That's someone I trust. And you don't need to raise your voice to be respected. You don't need to dominate conversations. You just need to show people that what they're saying matters to you. Because here's the truth. The deepest desire most people carry, whether they say it out loud or not, is to be understood. And most people go through life starving for that. They've been overlooked, ignored, talked over, made to feel small. And when you come along and actually listen, they don't forget you. They remember, and they respect you for it. This works everywhere. At home, in the workplace, with friends, with strangers. Wherever you are, you're always building either trust or distance. And the one tool that can bridge every gap is your willingness to truly listen, not to win, not to fix, not to reply, but to understand. That's what changes people. That's what connects people. And that's what earns respect that lasts. If you're always talking, always trying to prove something, always rushing to get your point across, you'll miss what matters. But if you slow down, lean in, and make space for others to be heard, you'll start to see something shift. They'll open up, they'll lean back in, they'll follow your lead, not because you demanded it, but because you deserved it. And don't confuse silence with weakness. Listening doesn't mean you don't have a voice. It means you're strong enough to know when to use it and when to let others speak. That kind of balance makes you trustworthy. And trust, once earned, becomes the foundation of all lasting respect. So today, wherever you are, listen. If someone speaks, pause and hear them fully. If someone opens up, don't rush in to talk, give them space. If someone is struggling, don't assume, ask questions and listen carefully. That's how you connect. That's how you grow. That's how you become the kind of person people respect without hesitation. This is how real influence begins, not by being the loudest in the room, but by being the one who listens when everyone else is too busy speaking. Practice it, master it, and you'll never need to demand respect. You'll already have it. Number 5, stay quiet during chaos to master your reactions. Most people lose control when life spins out of control, but the person who stays quiet in chaos holds the real power. Chaos has a way of exposing who we really are, not when things are easy, not when life is going our way, but when everything is falling apart. That's when our instincts kick in. That's when our true self shows up. And most people, when chaos strikes, react. They yell, they blame, they panic, they shut down. But the few, the rare few, stay calm, stay grounded, and stay quiet. Not because they're weak, but because they've built something stronger than noise, self-control. When you're surrounded by noise, the best move isn't to add more noise, it's to step back, breathe, observe. The world around you may be losing its mind, but that doesn't mean you have to. In fact, the most strategic move in chaos is to say less and see more. Because when you speak too fast, you often regret it. But when you stay quiet, you keep your power. And that power gives you something most people never experience: choice. You get to choose how to respond. You don't just react. And that's where mastery begins. The truth is, your reactions reveal your discipline. When you lash out at someone in the heat of the moment, what you're really showing is your lack of inner control. You're letting the outside world dictate how you behave. And that makes you easy to manipulate. Anyone can push your buttons and steer your direction. That's not power. That's weakness disguised as passion. But imagine this: you walk into a room where people are arguing, accusing, overreacting, and instead of matching their energy, you stand still. You listen. You hold your expression. You don't rush to defend yourself. You don't get caught in their emotions. You remain calm. That stillness changes everything. You don't feed the fire. You calm it. You don't lose your head. You keep it clear. And suddenly you become the most powerful person in the room. Not because you took control of others, but because you mastered control of yourself. Every time life throws something at you, a betrayal, a challenge, a moment of uncertainty, you have a choice. You can react in fear, or you can pause and respond in wisdom. But you can't do both. You can't be at your best when your emotions are hijacking your judgment. That's why silence is more than the absence of noise. It's the presence of strength. It takes strength to not fight back when you're attacked. It takes strength to not argue when you're provoked. It takes strength to breathe slowly when your heart is racing. But that strength isn't built in the moment. It's built before the moment. You train for chaos by practicing peace. You prepare for conflict by mastering your breath. You grow in silence so that when the storm hits, you stand unshaken. Most people never train this way. They react to everything. They let their environment control their state. They wait until the storm comes, and then they try to figure out how to survive it. But you don't have to be like that. You can train differently. You can become someone who doesn't lose himself when the world starts screaming. You stay quiet, not because you're scared, but because you're focused. You stay quiet, not because you don't care, but because you're not letting someone else write your story. You stay quiet, not because you're weak, but because you're saving your energy for something more important than being right. Your silence is not passive, it's intentional. You are watching, you are learning, you are preparing your move, and when the time is right, you'll speak with clarity, with strength, with precision. That's what mastery looks like, that's what leadership looks like. And most importantly, that's what freedom looks like. The freedom to rise above the noise instead of becoming part of it. The world needs more people like this. People who can stay calm when others can't. People who don't let pressure break them. People who bring peace into rooms full of conflict. But to become that person, you have to make a decision. You have to stop reacting the way you used to. You have to break the habit of being triggered. You have to learn to sit in discomfort without letting it own you. Because here's what most people never realize. Discomfort isn't the enemy. It's the teacher. And the person who can sit in it without speaking, without rushing, without trying to control everything, that person becomes unshakable. That person becomes wise. That person becomes strong. So the next time chaos shows up in your home, your workplace, your relationships, your plans, remember this. You don't have to match it. You don't have to argue back. You don't have to prove anything. All you need to do is return to your center. Let others yell if they need to. Let the world spin if it wants to. You focus on what you can control, your breath, your body, your mind. You've got to build this into your daily life. Wake up and train your calm. Practice quieting your thoughts. Watch how you speak during stress. Become the kind of person who notices the urge to explode, but chooses to pause instead. That pause is everything. That pause gives you access to a different level of life. Because when you don't react like everyone else, you start to see what others don't. You notice patterns. You sense truth. You pick up on lies. You see through manipulation. You recognize real opportunities. And that level of clarity makes you dangerous in the best possible way. So don't chase the last word. Don't waste your power trying to out-yell chaos. Let others burn themselves out in noise. You stay rooted in silence. Let your calm do the talking. Let your discipline speak louder than your voice. That's how you earn respect. That's how you win battles without fighting. That's how you protect your peace and live with purpose. And if nobody told you this before, I will now. You are allowed to walk through storms without reacting to every drop of rain. You are allowed to protect your energy from people who try to steal it. You are allowed to respond with stillness when the world expects rage. You are allowed to be quiet and powerful. Now is your moment to claim that power. Start small. Practice silence in little frustrations. Hold your ground in minor chaos. Build the muscle. And day by day, you will become the person who doesn't just survive storms, but transforms through them. Stay quiet. Stay strong. And soon enough, you'll realize the world begins to shift around the person who refuses to be moved by it. Number 6, speak less often to increase your personal influence. People don't listen to noise. They listen to impact. We live in a world where everyone's trying to talk over each other, fighting for attention, trying to prove something. But here's what most never understand. The more you talk, the more you dilute your influence. The more you speak just to fill space, the less power your words carry. If you really want people to listen when you speak, you've got to stop speaking all the time. Because when you speak less, you force yourself to make every word matter. And when your words matter, people start paying attention. That's how influence grows, not through volume, but through value. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who walk into a room and immediately shift the energy. They don't need to shout. They don't need to interrupt. They don't need to show off. In fact, most of the time they say very little. But when they do speak, the whole room leans in. Why? Because they've earned that space. They've built their reputation on listening more than they talk. And when they finally speak, people know it's worth hearing. You see, real influence isn't about being the loudest voice. It's about being the clearest voice. It's about saying something that actually moves people, not just something that sounds good in the moment. It's about timing, precision, and control. And you can't master that if you're always filling the silence with words. There's a kind of quiet power in restraint. When you hold back your opinion until it's truly needed. When you listen to understand instead of waiting for your turn to speak. When you speak with purpose, not to impress. That's when people start seeing you differently. They start respecting your thoughts. They start trusting your insight. They start seeking out your opinion, not because you always give it, but because you give it wisely. Most people are so afraid of being invisible that they talk constantly. They fear silence because they think silence means weakness. But silence isn't weakness. It's strength under control. It's confidence that doesn't need validation. And when you learn to speak only when it's necessary, your influence skyrockets. Because people know you're not just talking, you're delivering. And here's the part most people miss. Speaking less doesn't mean you're holding back who you are. It means you're becoming more intentional with what you offer. It means you're protecting your energy, your reputation, and your message. Because once your words are out there, you can't take them back. So why throw them around carelessly? You want influence? Start guarding your words like they cost you something, because they do. Every time you speak without clarity, you lose a little bit of trust. Every time you speak out of emotion instead of purpose, you lose a little bit of respect. Every time you speak just to be heard, you weaken the very voice you're trying to build. But when you speak with discipline, when you know when to pause, when to wait, and when to strike, you become unforgettable. Not because you were everywhere, but because when you did show up, you delivered something real, something meaningful, something that made people stop and think. This is especially true in leadership. If you're a leader, a mentor, a guide, your words carry weight, whether you realize it or not. And if you use them too often, if you're always the one talking, your team stops listening. But if you practice restraint, if you listen more than you speak, and then speak with direction, your team listens deeper. They follow with more intention. Because they know you don't waste words, and that means your words have power. You build influence by becoming a person of depth, not just a person of noise. You do that by taking time to think before you speak. You do it by reading the room before adding your opinion. You do it by watching the emotions of others and knowing whether your voice will help or hurt in that moment. That's emotional intelligence. That's wisdom. And that's how you lead without pushing. The hardest part of this path is patience. You're going to be in situations where staying quiet feels unbearable, where people will expect you to respond, where silence feels like defeat. But the truth is, most of the time, your silence is your advantage. It gives you time to observe, to understand, to wait for the truth to rise to the surface. And once it does, once you've listened long enough to see the full picture, then you speak. And your words cut through the noise like a sharp blade. That's what makes influence real. Not quantity, but quality. Not noise, but direction. And here's something powerful. The less you speak, the more you're forced to make your actions speak for you. That's the ultimate level of influence. When people watch how you live, not just how you talk. When your decisions, your habits, your attitude, those become your message. When people trust you because of what you do, not just what you say. That kind of influence doesn't fade. That kind of influence builds legacy. So I'm telling you now, start paying attention to how often you speak and why. Ask yourself, is this moment really calling for my voice, or can I serve better by listening? Am I speaking because I have something to give, or because I'm trying to fill a gap in my own confidence? Am I building my influence or weakening it? You get to choose how people experience you. You get to choose whether you'll be known as someone who always has something to say, or someone who only speaks when it truly matters. And believe me, people remember the second one more. You want to grow? Want to lead? Want to be respected? Speak less. Think more. Listen deeply. And when you speak, make it count. Because one sentence delivered at the right time with the right energy is more powerful than an hour of noise. This is how you change the game. This is how you elevate your presence without fighting for attention. And this is how you become a person others follow. not because you demanded it, but because your influence made them want to. So now make the shift, hold back, study the moment, wait for the truth to settle. And when the time is right, speak from strength, not from the need to be heard. Let your words be few but unforgettable. That's how real influence is built. And if you start today, you'll start seeing the world respond to you in ways it never has before. Number 7, choose silence to protect your energy and focus. Energy is the most precious currency you have, and every word you speak takes from it. In a world that never stops talking, where distractions pull you in every direction, choosing silence becomes an act of fierce protection. It's not about withdrawing from life or avoiding challenges. It's about guarding your mental and emotional space so you can stay focused on what truly matters. When you learn to choose silence, you stop giving away pieces of yourself to noise, drama, and unnecessary conflict. Many people don't realize how much energy they waste by engaging in every argument, reacting to every distraction, or trying to keep up with every conversation. It's exhausting because your mind is constantly running, your emotions on edge, and your focus shattered. That's why silence isn't just a lack of sound, it's a powerful tool to preserve your clarity and power. It's a way to say, I'm in control of where my energy goes. Think about the times you felt completely drained. Maybe it was after a long day filled with meaningless chatter, criticism, or stress. You walked away feeling like you gave everything but got nothing in return. That's because your energy wasn't protected. When you choose silence, you refuse to surrender your energy to things that don't serve you. Silence is the space where your focus can grow. When your mind isn't cluttered with distractions, it sharpens. Your goals become clearer. Your motivation grows stronger. It's in silence that you can connect deeply with your purpose, free from the noise that pulls you off course. Protecting your energy doesn't mean ignoring the world. It means being intentional about what you let inside. You have a choice every moment. Respond or reflect. Engage or observe. Give your power away or hold it steady. Silence lets you hold your power steady. It creates a buffer between you and chaos, so your energy isn't scattered in every direction. This is especially important when you're pursuing something meaningful. Whether it's building a career, nurturing relationships, or growing as a person, focus is your most valuable asset. And focus suffers when your energy is constantly drained by distractions, drama, or unnecessary conversations. Silence acts like a shield. It helps you protect your time and mental space so you can pour yourself into what moves you forward. Many times, people mistake silence for weakness or avoidance. They think if they don't speak up or react immediately, they're missing out or losing ground. But real strength lies in knowing when to be silent and when to act. When you master this, you stop reacting to everything and start choosing your battles wisely. You preserve your energy for what truly deserves it. The challenge is that silence can feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind will want to fill it. Your environment might push you to respond. But this discomfort is a signal that you're growing. You're breaking old habits of giving away your power with every word and reaction. Over time, silence becomes a source of calm strength, not anxiety. Another way silence protects your energy is by preventing you from getting caught in negativity. When you choose not to engage with gossip, complaints, or conflicts that don't concern you, you keep your emotional balance. You avoid being dragged into battles that steal your peace. Instead, you conserve your strength for building your own life. Choosing silence is a form of self-respect. It shows that you value your own well-being more than fleeting opinions or approval. It's a commitment to yourself that you won't be distracted or drained by things that don't align with your goals. This respect for your own energy sends a powerful message to others. You are someone who commands focus and control. When you protect your energy through silence, you become more present. You notice details others miss. You pick up on opportunities that go unnoticed. Your intuition sharpens. You become a force of calm in a storm of noise, and people naturally gravitate toward that energy. It's important to practice this daily. Make silence a habit, not just the absence of noise, but a choice to disconnect from what depletes you and reconnect with what fuels you. Turn off distractions. Step back from drama. Spend time alone with your thoughts. Give yourself space to breathe and regroup. These moments of quiet recharge your energy and renew your focus. You don't have to stay silent all the time, but you must learn when silence is your greatest ally. It's in those moments of quiet that your mind gathers strength, your emotions settle, and your true priorities emerge. The world will always be loud, but your power comes from how well you can stay centered amid the noise. This kind of control doesn't come from reacting fast or speaking often. It comes from deliberate silence, from protecting what matters most inside you. It's a discipline that will separate you from the crowd and bring clarity to your path. So begin choosing silence to protect your energy. Make it a habit to pause before speaking, to step back from distractions, and to guard your focus fiercely. Notice how much stronger you feel when you do. Notice how much more you accomplish when your energy isn't wasted. Your time and energy are the foundation for everything you want. Don't give them away lightly. Choose silence. Protect your energy. Focus your mind. The power you seek is already inside you. It just needs space to grow. Now is the moment to commit to this simple but powerful shift. Make silence your strategy to stay strong, clear, and unstoppable. Start today and watch how your life transforms. Number 8, remain calm and quiet to win difficult moments. When the world feels like it's closing in and every second is charged with pressure, the one thing that will truly separate you from failure is your ability to remain calm and quiet. Difficult moments come to all of us. Maybe it's a crisis at work, a personal loss, or a sudden challenge that seems impossible to face. In these moments, most people react impulsively, raising their voices, making rash decisions, or getting lost in panic. But those reactions don't bring clarity or solutions. They drain you, scatter your focus, and push you further into trouble. True winners understand that calmness is not just a feeling, it's a strategic advantage. When you remain calm, your mind opens to possibilities. Your judgment sharpens. You see options that others miss because their minds are clouded by noise and chaos. Being quiet isn't about weakness or avoidance. It's a powerful way to reclaim control and respond with wisdom instead of fear. Imagine standing in the eye of a storm where everything outside is chaotic, but inside you are steady. That steadiness is where strength lives. When others are reacting with emotion, your calmness becomes a beacon. People look to you because calm inspires confidence. It shows that you're prepared to handle what's coming, not overwhelmed by it. This calmness starts inside. It comes from accepting that you cannot control every external event, but you can control your reaction to it. When difficult moments hit, the first step is to stop the immediate reaction. Pause. Take a breath. Let your mind settle. This silence is not emptiness, it's preparation. It's gathering your mental resources to respond, not just react. Holding your tongue, even when you want to speak up or argue, is part of this calm strength. Sometimes silence in the face of tension is the most powerful statement you can make. It shows restraint, maturity, and confidence. It lets you avoid saying something that could make the situation worse. Words spoken in haste can never be taken back. But silence gives you room to think, plan, and act with purpose. Many successful people credit their victories to moments when they stayed quiet, while others rushed to chaos. When you don't feed the fire of conflict, you conserve your energy. You maintain your emotional balance and keep your mind clear. This clarity helps you see solutions rather than problems. Calmness also protects your relationships. When tensions rise, a calm and quiet presence can diffuse anger and open the door for understanding. People respond better to calmness than to yelling or confrontation. When you show that you're in control of your emotions, others trust you more. That trust can be the key to navigating difficult situations and finding resolutions that work for everyone. This isn't easy. The natural impulse in stress is to explode or shut down. But practicing calmness and quietness makes it easier over time. You develop resilience, a kind of emotional muscle that lets you stay strong even when everything is falling apart around you. It helps to remind yourself why you want to stay calm. Is it because you want to protect your peace? Because you want to solve the problem effectively? Because you want to show strength to those around you? Keeping your purpose in mind fuels your ability to remain quiet when emotions want to take over. Another important part of winning difficult moments is understanding the power of listening. When you are quiet, you listen better. You catch details others miss. You learn what really matters, which lets you respond in ways that move things forward. Listening is an act of respect and control. It tells people you value what they say, but also that you're thinking before you act. It's in these quiet moments that great ideas come. Solutions that aren't obvious when the noise is loud emerge when your mind is calm. You connect the dots others can't see. You make decisions that are thoughtful, strategic, and lasting. Remaining calm and quiet isn't about passivity or weakness. It's a form of active strength. It's a decision to face difficulties with confidence and clarity, rather than fear and impulsiveness. It requires practice, but pays off in every part of your life: work, relationships, personal growth. When you find yourself in a tough situation, challenge yourself to stay calm. Don't rush to speak. Don't let your emotions control you. Breathe deeply. Anchor yourself in your purpose. Let your silence be your strength and your calm your weapon. Difficult moments are inevitable, but losing control doesn't have to be. When you master calmness and quiet, you become a force that no challenge can break. You'll notice doors opening where others see walls. You'll inspire those around you without saying a word. This is your edge. This is what separates those who survive difficult moments from those who thrive through them. It's not the loudest voice or the fastest reaction. It's the quiet confidence and steady heart. Start today by practicing stillness in small moments. When frustration arises, hold your tongue. When chaos unfolds, center your mind. Over time, these small acts build a powerful habit. You become the calm in the storm. Your victories will multiply. Your relationships will deepen. Your mind will sharpen. Difficult moments won't break you. They will shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. Hold on to this truth. Calm and quiet will lead you to win the battles that matter most. Trust the power of silence. Trust the strength in your stillness. That is where your greatest wins begin. Now take that strength with you. Face your challenges with calm. Speak less, listen more, and keep your heart steady. Watch how the world shifts in your favor, because you learn to win, not with noise, but with quiet power. Number 9, control your mouth to sharpen your thinking clearly. Your mouth can be your greatest tool or your biggest enemy. When you learn to control it, your mind becomes razor sharp and your clarity unstoppable. Every word you speak sends ripples through your thoughts. When you speak impulsively, your mind scatters, tangled in confusion and emotion. But when you master the discipline to control your speech, your thinking becomes crystal clear, like a calm lake, reflecting the sky without distortion. This isn't about silence for silence's sake. It's about harnessing the power of your words to shape your reality with precision and wisdom. Imagine for a moment how many times you have spoken before fully understanding your own thoughts. How often have you regretted words that slipped out too quickly, dragging your mind into unnecessary conflicts or doubt? Each uncontrolled word is a small fracture in your mental armor. But every moment you hold back your speech to think first, you strengthen your inner fortress. Controlling your mouth is not just a matter of social grace, it's a profound mental exercise. When you refuse to rush into words, your brain engages in deeper processing. You sift through feelings, assess facts, and consider consequences. This mental pause builds your capacity for clarity and foresight. You begin to think 2 steps ahead, not just reacting, but anticipating and shaping outcomes. This control doesn't suppress your voice, it sharpens it. When you speak with deliberate intention, your words carry weight. People listen because what you say matters. Your speech becomes a tool of influence, not noise. This power comes only when your mind is disciplined enough to frame your ideas clearly before releasing them. Every great leader, every visionary thinker understands this. Their communication isn't loud or constant. It's measured and thoughtful. They choose words that inspire, persuade, and transform because they have trained their minds through speech control. This practice creates space for reflection and innovation, allowing them to respond to challenges with unprecedented clarity. The challenge is real. Our culture encourages constant noise and immediate responses. Social media, instant messaging, even everyday conversations push us to react quickly. But this impulsivity clouds your mental landscape. It creates a fog where your true intentions get lost. You become a slave to your emotions instead of the master of your mind. To break free, begin with awareness. Notice how often your mouth races ahead of your thoughts. Catch those moments when your words feel like a rush rather than a river flowing steadily. This awareness alone rewires your brain to slow down, to give space for thought before speech. Practice this daily. When tempted to speak quickly, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, is this what I truly want to say? Does this express my highest truth, or just a passing emotion? That tiny pause transforms your thinking from reactionary to intentional. You create a habit of clarity that ripples through every part of your life. Control over your mouth also protects you from unnecessary conflict. Words spoken hastily can ignite fires that damage relationships and reputations. But when you hold your tongue to sharpen your thinking, you avoid needless battles. You communicate with integrity, preserving peace and trust. This control extends beyond avoiding mistakes. It actively enhances your mental capacity. Think of your mouth as a gatekeeper for your mind. When you allow only deliberate words to pass, your thoughts stay organized and focused. Your mental energy is conserved, no longer wasted on regret or confusion caused by reckless speech. Through this discipline, you unlock a deeper connection with yourself. As you slow down your speech, you hear your own thoughts more clearly. You understand your desires, fears, and goals with newfound precision. This internal clarity fuels confident decisions and purposeful actions. Imagine the difference this will make in your daily life. Conversations become opportunities for meaningful exchange rather than chaotic noise. You speak less, but your words carry more influence and truth. Your mind feels lighter, clearer, more capable of solving complex problems. The key to this transformation is persistence. Controlling your mouth is not a one-time act. It's a lifelong practice. Some days your mind will race and words will threaten to spill over. But with each choice to pause, reflect, and speak intentionally, you strengthen a powerful mental muscle. Your thinking becomes sharper, your communication more impactful, your life more aligned with your highest potential. When you commit to this path, watch how your relationships deepen. People are drawn to your calm presence and thoughtful speech. They respect the space you create with your silence and the clarity you offer with your words. This respect opens doors and builds bridges you never imagined possible. Your mouth can either scatter your mind or sharpen it like a finely honed blade. The choice is yours. Start by taking control of your speech today. Let your words be the reflection of a clear, focused mind. Build that pause between thought and speech and watch your clarity multiply. This is not about limiting your expression. It's about amplifying your true voice. When your mind is sharp, your words will resonate with power and purpose. You will influence without overpowering, lead without shouting, and connect without confusion. Take this moment to make a commitment. Control your mouth to sharpen your thinking. Feel the strength in your silence, the power in your precision, and the freedom in your clarity. Your future self will thank you for this daily choice. Now step into your power. Speak with intention. Think with clarity. Let your mouth serve your mind, not sabotage it. The journey to unstoppable mental sharpness begins with a single moment of control. Take it and never look back. Number 10, use silence wisely to grow strong self-discipline. True strength is born in the silence you choose, not the silence imposed on you, but the silence you wield as a weapon to forge unbreakable self-discipline. Imagine the world around you, constantly clamoring for your attention. Noise floods your senses from every direction. Messages, opinions, distractions pulling at your focus like relentless waves. In this ocean of chaos, silence becomes the anchor that holds you steady, the quiet force that sharpens your resolve when everything else threatens to pull you under. Silence is far more than an absence of sound. It is an intentional space where power is cultivated. When you embrace silence, you create a sacred environment where self-discipline can flourish. Without this sacred pause, the mind remains scattered, driven by fleeting impulses and external pressures. But in silence, you step into a deeper realm where your true will begins to take root. Think about moments when you reacted impulsively, acting on desire or frustration without control. Those moments often leave you feeling drained, guilty, or regretful. But what if instead you had chosen silence, just a brief pause before action? That pause is where discipline grows, where you reclaim ownership over your decisions. In that quiet space, your mind resets, allowing you to act with intention rather than reaction. Silence is a training ground. The more you practice it, the stronger your inner will becomes. It teaches you patience, the ability to delay gratification, and the resilience to resist distractions. Each silent moment you create is a victory over impulsivity and a step toward mastery of your own behavior. Consider the power of silence in your daily life. When challenges arise, when emotions surge like storms, silence offers refuge. Instead of surrendering to chaos, you withdraw into calm. This calm is not weakness, it is the birthplace of strength. It is in these quiet moments that clarity appears, revealing the path forward with precision and purpose. Silence also sharpens your awareness. In the absence of external noise, you begin to hear the subtle voice of your conscience, your deeper desires, and your highest goals. This clarity allows you to align your actions with your true values, building discipline that is authentic and sustainable. You no longer chase after fleeting pleasures, but move steadily toward meaningful achievement. The journey to strong self-discipline through silence requires courage. It means resisting the urge to fill every gap with chatter or distraction. It demands that you confront uncomfortable feelings and thoughts without running away. This confrontation, though challenging, is transformative. It dissolves mental clutter and emotional noise that weaken your resolve. When you consistently choose silence, you build momentum. Each silent decision reinforces your ability to say no to distractions, no to procrastination, and no to self-sabotage. You become a person who acts with deliberate focus, who can endure discomfort for the sake of long-term growth. Imagine the ripple effect this discipline creates. With greater self-control, your habits improve, your productivity soars, and your confidence deepens. You become less dependent on external validation because your inner strength fuels your sense of worth. Your relationships improve because you respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Your life becomes a reflection of the power cultivated in silence. This practice also rewires your brain. Neuroscience shows that repetitive actions shape neural pathways. By choosing silence over noise, discipline over impulse, you strengthen the circuits that govern willpower and focus. Over time, your mind naturally defaults to clarity and control, making self-discipline not a struggle, but a natural state. The beauty of silence is that it is always accessible. No matter your circumstances, you can create moments of quiet, whether in a bustling room, a hectic schedule, or an anxious mind. These pockets of silence become sanctuaries for your willpower to regenerate and grow. Start with small steps. Pause before responding to distractions. Dedicate brief moments each day to stillness without phones or interruptions. Allow yourself to sit with discomfort instead of avoiding it through noise or activity. These simple acts build the muscle of discipline. As silence becomes your ally, notice how your energy shifts. You waste less effort chasing every impulse. Instead, you conserve strength for what truly matters. This focus fuels progress toward your goals with steady, unstoppable momentum. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness, a deep reservoir of power waiting to be tapped. It invites you to slow down, listen inward, and choose your path with clarity. It demands patience, but rewards with unmatched strength. You hold the key to this power. By using silence wisely, you grow a discipline that cannot be shaken by temptation, stress, or distraction. Your mind sharpens, your will strengthens, and your life transforms. Now claim your silence as your most valuable resource. Let it become the foundation upon which you build unstoppable self-discipline. Harness its quiet force and watch as every area of your life rises in response to the strength you cultivate. Embrace silence today, not as a retreat, but as the boldest step forward toward the mastery of your mind and the achievement of your deepest ambitions. The path to true power begins in the stillness you choose. Take that step now and become the architect of your own unwavering discipline.